We live in a world with billions of unique individuals, each with their own backgrounds, experiences, and challenges. While it would be great if everyone was always polite and understanding, the reality is that we'll all encounter rudeness from time to time. And while we can't control how others behave, we can definitely control how we react. Today, we're going to explore some effective strategies to handle and respond to rude behavior, ensuring we remain true to ourselves and maintain our own inner peace. Define rudeness. Now, before we dive deep into the strategies, let's first clarify what we mean by rudeness. At its core, rudeness is a display of disrespect or impoliteness. It's those actions or words that break the norms of social decorum, making someone feel belittled, disrespected, or downright hurt. Have you ever been cut off in a conversation, or perhaps someone didn't hold the door for you when your hands were clearly full? These are some of the everyday examples that might come to mind. Nevertheless, it's important to understand that not all perceived rudeness is intentional. Sometimes, what comes across as rude might just be someone's awkwardness, a cultural difference, or perhaps they're just having an off day and it's nothing personal against you. But then, there's the unmistakable blatant rudeness where the intent to hurt, belittle, or dominate is clear. Think of those unnecessary snide remarks, aggressive behaviors, or unprovoked criticisms. It's also essential to recognize that the way we perceive rudeness can be very personal. What feels rude to one person might be entirely benign to another. A lot of our interpretation depends on our personal boundaries, cultural upbringing, past experiences, and even our current mood. That's why it's so crucial to understand rudeness, both from a general perspective and a personal one, so we can better navigate these tricky waters. Understand the root causes. Often, the behavior we label as rude isn't actually about us. It's more about the individual's internal struggles. Think of a person who's just received some distressing news and is now short-tempered with everyone they interact with. While their behavior isn't justified, recognizing this can change our perspective from feeling like a target to seeing a broader picture. Psychologically speaking, repeated rudeness might stem from an individual's underlying issues such as insecurities, low self-esteem, or past traumas. When someone feels insecure about themselves, they might resort to putting others down as a way to feel elevated. In other cases, some people weren't taught or never learned proper social etiquette, so they genuinely might not understand that their behavior is considered rude. Environmental factors play a huge role too. Think about someone under immense stress, be it from work, home, or personal challenges. Their threshold for patience becomes minimal, and they might lash out without intending to. Then there are societal pressures. In some fast-paced environments or cultures, being direct to the point of being blunt or even rude is seen as a necessity, not an affront. Strategies for dealing with rude people. So we've unpacked what rudeness is and why people might behave that way. Now let's explore some strategies that can empower us when facing such behavior. Remember, it's not about changing the other person, it's about equipping ourselves to handle the situation with grace, dignity, and strength. Firstly, one of the most effective strategies is to stay calm and composed. It's natural to feel defensive or hurt when someone is rude, but reacting impulsively can escalate the situation. When we take a deep breath and ground ourselves, we are better equipped to assess the situation and decide on the best course of action. Think of it as giving yourself a brief moment to switch from a reactive mode to a proactive one. Using I statements can be a game changer. Instead of saying, "You're being rude," which can make someone defensive, you can express, "I felt hurt by that comment." This way, you're communicating your feelings without pointing fingers, making it more likely the other person will hear you out. Another essential strategy is establishing boundaries. If someone consistently displays rude behavior towards you, it's vital to let them know what you will and won't tolerate. Politely, yet firmly, communicate your boundaries. It sends a message that while you're open to interaction, you value yourself enough to not accept mistreatment. Choosing your battles is equally crucial. Not every act of rudeness requires confrontation. Sometimes, it's best to let things slide, especially if it's a one-off incident or the stakes are low. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week or a month? If not, it might be worth saving your energy for battles that truly matter. Lastly, remember that kindness can be incredibly disarming. It's not about being passive or a pushover, but recognizing the power of kindness to potentially shift dynamics. By responding with understanding or even a smile, you might just catch the rude individual off guard, prompting them to reevaluate their behavior. Another vital tool in our arsenal is active listening. It might sound counterintuitive, but sometimes a person behaving rudely just needs to feel heard. By actively listening to what they're saying, without interrupting or formulating a response in your head, you allow them to express themselves. Once they've had their say, they might feel less compelled to be on the offensive, making room for a more constructive conversation. Nonetheless, it's also essential to recognize when to distance yourself. Continual exposure to rudeness, especially if it's from the same individual, can take a toll on your well-being. In such cases, it's entirely appropriate and sometimes necessary to reduce interaction with that person or even cut ties. Remember, protecting your mental and emotional health is paramount. There's also an aspect of self-awareness that we mustn't overlook. Sometimes, in the face of rudeness, it's essential to introspect. Are there patterns in the way multiple people interact with you? While it's easy to always see ourselves as the victim, a periodic self-check can help ensure that we're not inadvertently contributing to or provoking negative interactions. This isn't to place blame on ourselves, but to encourage personal growth and understanding. Empathy plays a key role in our interactions. When faced with rudeness, taking a moment to wonder, what might that person be going through, can provide an emotional buffer. Maybe they've just had the worst day of their life, received bad news, or are struggling with personal issues. While this doesn't excuse their behavior, understanding this can lessen the impact on our emotions. Visualization is another technique that can be surprisingly effective. Imagine a shield around you, deflecting any negativity or rudeness. This mental imagery can often give a sense of protection and decrease the emotional toll these interactions can take. Moreover, educate and practice assertiveness. Being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive. It means clearly communicating your feelings, needs, and rights in a situation. These are just a few strategies, and the beauty of it is you can mix and match based on the situation and what feels right for you. The key is to ensure that in any interaction, you prioritize your well-being and self-respect. Thanks for watching. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button